Greetings from down under. It is me, Ryan, your host in the southern hemisphere. It is 45 degrees and pissing rain here in Daylesford, Victoria, Australia. And it's friggin' gorgeous because it's like more than double that back in Kentucky. It's over 100 degrees. We're in a heat dome in Kentucky, and we are in a winter torrential downpour here in the greater outer Melbourne area. But oh, crispy temps are coming. I'm going to get out to the Grampians and do a little rock climbing in a few days here. Very excited about that. I'm not supposed to be working. This is not a working vacation, but I wanted to get a podcast episode out this week and keep it on theme because this episode is a bonus episode. It's a movie night review of the film Apex. And this is a movie night episode that was a Patreon bonus exclusive for our friends over at The Runout, Chris Kalous and Andrew Bisharat. And they were generous enough to share it with me so I could release it to you because it's on theme. Apex was shot in the Blue Mountains and is set entirely, well, not quite entirely, but almost entirely here in Australia. It's a hell of a thriller, and it's got a good, strong climbing component to it. In fact, Beth Rodden, friend of the show, and just all around friggin' amazing human being and rock star, Beth Rodden was Charlize Theron's climbing coach on the film. So as we tend to do with movie nights, we took the piss and we gave accolades where deserved, and we trolled it and just had some good laughs and cocktails were had. And anyway, if you haven't seen Apex, I highly recommend it. I think it's a really fun ride, and it's probably worth watching before listening to this episode if you think you might watch it. But even if you haven't seen it, you can kind of experience it beat by beat here with Andrew and Chris and myself. So without further ado, let's just jump into the bonus episode here, and I will do an update. Maybe I'll sneak a little plug episode out next week. In fact, I was intending to do a plug today, but the internet is pretty slow where I'm at, and also I am just like jet lagged out of my mind. I've been waking up at 2:30 or 3 in the morning and then not finding a way to get a nap in. It's been a little rough. The family's been doing fine. They're like back on schedule, but I am not. And so anyway, my brain's not working so well right now. Probably go have one more cup of incredible Australian coffee. The coffee here is amazing. And some pastries. The pastries here are also amazing. So I'm not in terrible shape, guys. As vacations go, I'm in pretty good shape here, but I am really excited to get out rock climbing in a couple days. So maybe I'll do a plug or keep an eye on Instagram. And in the meantime, I'm just going to hand it off here without any music or editing to Andrew's intro to the movie night episode here because I want to just get back to my vacation. I hope you're having a wonderful, awesome week. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
All right, It's movie night at the Runout, and we have the film du jour to talk about tonight. This is the film called Apex, and I only heard about it because I follow Beth Rodden on Instagram and saw that she was hanging out with Charlize Theron. Don't know how you say her last name. Hanging out with Charlize Theron and was training her to be for these like climbing scenes. So that was my kind of cue that there was this new film that featured climbing content. And of course, because we have, just like a dedicated and amazing fan base of listeners, we were instantly inundated with millions of emails from people demanding that we have a movie night and talk about this film Apex. And so here we are with my compadre Chris Kalous and my brother from Kentucky, Ryan Devlin.
We're back.
I don't know if we even feel okay doing movie night without you anymore, Ryan. First of all, you're so good at it, and then you've got this whole view into Hollywood that I think adds a ton to these. And so yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna do one again without you. So we appreciate the appearance here on movie night with us.
I'm so happy. It's always my favorite podcast recording when we get to get together and have a cocktail and talk about movies. I will say this though, I'll air out a little bit of beef just right at the top is
okay.
When Apex came out, I messaged you guys. I was like, here's our movie night. And it was fucking crickets. And then like 4 days later, Andrew sends a screenshot from one of your Patreon members saying, you got to have Devlin on and do a movie night with Apex. And you're like, hey guys, what about this? As if it was like your idea. And I had already messaged you guys about it.
Life is
I mean, I have an
complicated.
excuse in that I don't respond to text messages, so I don't know
Oh,
what Chris's
that's
excuse
not an
is.
excuse. I don't
And
respond.
by the
to
way,
text
I'm also a
messages.
Patreon member. Like I am a rope gun. And so
Okay.
when I suggested it, it should have been received with the same level of response and credibility as when that other person suggested it. But hey, whoever made the comment about having me back on to do this movie night, I appreciate you because I love doing these. So thank you guys for having me back on.
Okay, in previous movie nights, in the old way, we do them at Andrew's house. We would literally have an introduction where we hadn't seen the movie yet, and then we would watch it, and then we would, then we'd do the commentary. But that's because we do these remotely now. We all watch it ahead of time, so we aren't going to pretend as though we haven't seen it already. But before I play the trailer for you guys and for everybody else, just give me your impressions. If you can go back to before you had pressed play on Netflix. And I'll say that mine were, again, I knew about the movie, but I also didn't realize it had climbing in it until the Beth Rodden thing. And then I sort of went back and then I started hearing other people commenting about it. And I will say that I just assumed it was going to have climbing in it, like the remake of Point Break had climbing in it, which is pretty close to what the climbing is, although there's a little bit more of it. And it does play kind of a pivotal plot role in it, both for character development and for the actual action. But yeah, I was just kind of like, okay. And then also, as usual, I was like, I don't care if Beth Rodden is involved, it's still going to be dumb in terms of the climbing. And so those were like my impressions before I pressed play. What about you guys?
My impressions were, I also heard about it first from Beth's posts. So like we're all getting our news sources from the same thing. So it wasn't like a well put together like marketing campaign from Netflix where I was like, oh my god, I'm so psyched. It was just Beth posting photos of her and Charlize, who's like 5 feet taller than Beth.
I know those are so cute.
The disparity in height was wild as they were on the red carpet, because I'm assuming, Charlize was in like 6-inch stilettos or whatever, because it was a red carpet photo, and Beth is in like, whatever La Sportiva, like trail shoes or whatever she was wearing. But yeah, I was actually very intrigued because we've done some movie nights and we're always just like trolling, how rock climbing's portrayed for the most part. But, it doesn't get better than Beth to coach you if you don't know much about climbing. And like, it wasn't for a week. I think she said it was for months that they had worked together. So I was very intrigued by that. And then when I saw the trailer, I don't do well with like horror movies. I don't like them. I don't watch them. I don't like that feeling of like being scared. And this thing kind of seemed like it was straddling thriller and horror. So it looked like to me that, Charlize is an Oscar-winning actress. Like, she's amazing. It looked like to me, and Taron Egerton too, is like a fantastic. I think he got nominated for an Oscar for when he played Elton John, maybe. In any case, he's a great actor. And so I was like, this could be really good, but I don't know if it's a movie I'll like. And that's what I thought when I went in and hit play.
Well, you hit play, Ryan, and then you didn't. You had to hit pause because you were dealing with family issues. And
you guys, this is probably worth saying. I consumed this Netflix movie, I think, exactly how Netflix now assumes most people consume their movies, which is I watched this movie entirely on my phone in like 18-minute chunks over the course of 4 days. That is not a joke. It was like I got my kid in the bath and I was like, all right, he's about to try to eat her. Let's see where we're at or whatever. Spoiler alert. And like like that's how I consumed it. And I just like I'm like came up in Hollywood. My wife's a screenwriter. She has a film that she wrote that is currently filming right now. And we kind of pride ourselves on being like film people. And I did what I loathe, which is I watched an entire movie on my phone over the course of 4 days. But that was life. I had a lot of stuff going on. My wife was out of town for those days, so I just was like fitting it in when I could.
I literally knew nothing about this. I didn't know if it was going to be funny. I didn't know if it was going to be a thriller. I didn't know. All I knew is Beth Rodden posted something about a film called Apex that she helped out with. So and yes, I don't have Netflix traditionally, so I did have to subscribe for a month to watch this so-called film, and yeah, it was worth it. So let's do the interstitial time warp where we all go off and watch the film and then come back to talk about it.
You going out alone? I wouldn't recommend it.
I'm trying to get to Grand Isle Narrows.
Do you want the easy way or the hard way?
The best way.
Think you can handle that?
Yeah, they think I can handle it.
You made it! It's me from the gas station.
Hey.
You having fun?
Something got into my gear last night and took everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a drastic bummer. You hungry?
Just kind of looking for that gear.
So look, it's very simple. You've got until the very end of this song to get as far away from me as you can. You got the right shoes on? You'll be fine.
Everybody got a target tonight. Everybody come along for the ride. Deadly sharp shooting the game. I'm gonna hit you in the soul. Execution is aimed. No time to rest.
What's the matter?
Just do your best.
Do you like danger?
What you hear is not a test. Everything getting harder to find. Everybody jumping out of their mind.
Are you playing a game? Is that what you think we're doing?
Everybody going out of their skin.
Let's do it.
I'm deadly sharp shooting the game. Gonna hit you in the soul. Execution is aimed.
We make a good team, don't we, eh?
All right, we are back after watching Apex, and where do we begin with this one?
How about that trailer? Freaking Q-Tip, right? I looked it up. That's an old Chemical Brothers song. And
Dude,
that's
the
Q-Tip.
Q-Tip song, it plays at the end of the movie. I thought was sick. I was
Yeah.
like really into that.
But he's so
that's a
you
good
can
shout.
always tell it's him, you know, his style and just the timbre of his voice. You're like, oh yeah, it's Q-Tip.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I'll start. Again, like I said, I had no idea what this film was about, and I was like really thrilled by this thriller. I was like hooked. I thought it was a great film. You know, I read some like kind of tepid reviews about it online, but to me, I thought it was like a pretty sick film. Like I liked the climbing sequences. I thought the cinematography was sick. The plot kind of, was typically maybe a little disjointed for a kind of like schlocky film. Didn't always make sense, but everything about it was like, in my mind, like pretty good. I was like pretty psyched about the whole thing.
Yeah, I actually also dug it. I mean, it's kind of a, it's a small film in the sense that like it's this next Netflix movie. Its ambitions aren't huge. It's just a thriller and action packed kind of thing. And put Charlize in this action role, though she was Furiosa, so she's not totally out of that realm. But it wasn't something like that. You got Furiosa, also this kind of Australian-based film, this huge, gigantic thing. And this was like a scene from Furiosa, like this was like a set piece from Furiosa if you took it out of there. But yeah, I thought it was good too. I was thrilled along with everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, my viewing experience of it was a little disjointed, but
Yeah, how can they build suspense and shit when you're watching it like in little chunks?
well, I mean, it kind of worked for me. I will say this: it kind of worked for me because, as I already mentioned, I don't do well with like scary movies, or I don't tend to like thrillers. I don't know. It just like it makes me uncomfortable, which I think is the intention, but I don't enjoy that feeling. And so it kind of made it better for me to break it up where I could just like kind of breathe and walk away, because they do build, I thought the filmmaker did a good job of building tension throughout. And like, you knew some jump scares were coming, and you know, you have a sense for where this thing is going, because it follows a formula for the most part, but they follow the formula well. And I was like very into the cat and mouse of those two. I mean, those are two powerhouse actors. I think this film with a couple of like B-listers or something like that becomes a totally different thing. But Charlize is a badass. Taron Egerton's a badass. And like, they were very captivating on screen. And so even though there was some schlock in there, and I'm thinking about like even the opening scene, and Eric Bana's no slouch either, but like that opening sequence, you know, that kind of sets Charlize's character on this like journey of grief and discovery and that kind of thing that takes us into the plot, kind of the inciting incident, if you will. It had all the issues of every bad climbing movie we've ever seen, where somebody has to like let their partner go or whatever. But
yeah, it was like,
you know,
it was basically like Vertical Limit with snow, you know, instead of Vertical Limit in the desert.
Limit. Yeah, it was like, this is just archival.
It was almost
footage,
exactly point by point the same.
Totally.
Other than there weren't amateurs at 12 o'clock or whatever that started the whole thing. But otherwise, like, they hit all the things. Like, I was just kind of like, wait a second, did they just watch that and put it on a mountain? Do we want to get into that, or do we want to do a plot summary?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that opening scene, Chris.
Okay,
tell
cool.
us what happens in that,
So,
that first initial montage.
The opening scene is the troll wall in Norway, and Charlize, Sasha, her name is, probably not coincidentally. So they're on this mountain and they're in a portal edge, and it's snowy and the wind is whipping, and it appears to be kind of nighttime-ish, and they are climbing some wall that is apparently in very winter conditions, which I think is part of the interesting way they've depicted climbing. She's in there, Eric Bana, whatever his name is, her partner or husband or whatever, he's in there, and they're already setting up this thing where she's the ambitious one that wants to send, and he's kind of over it a little bit, and and they're climbing this troll wall, which is, you know, they used a specific wall, so that's kind of thing. But the interesting thing is, and I'm sure you guys were like, what the fuck? It's covered in snow. It reminds me actually of Cliffhanger, where they force Gabe to try to climb up to where the money is in the thing, and he has to do it in his fingerless gloves. Like, non-climber climbing movies are always like, they use fingerless gloves to climb in the snow is what they do. That's what fingerless gloves are for. They're either for climbers or like street urchins in the 1880s. Those are the people with fingerless gloves in movies. And so she's like literally
or a climber.
Yeah, exactly. Or Oliver or whatever. But and so she's actually free climbing it, and she's got I wanted to note that she has Mythos on, Sportiva Mythos. But it's like completely winter climbing, and she's trying to free climb this thing, and she starts to take these monster whippers. Like horrible monster whippers
on what could only be described as a static rope. Like they're climbing on the haul line.
Yeah.
There was no dynamic it was 25 whippers in a row where she like folded in half under the sudden stop of the rope.
Yeah, and just like clobbered herself. What's that?
The whippers are totally heinous. And one of the funniest parts of that for me, or just like one thing I noted, was you know, she's kind of beating herself up about it, like as if, you know, she's just doesn't quite have the determination, the grit, the courage, the, you know, all of these like virtues, you know, these lauded human virtues that climbing brings about, as if that's the issue with her right now. Like, she can't quite summon the reserves to like summit the troll wall. And as you were pointing out, Chris, like the issue is that it's covered in fucking snow, and you can't fucking hold on to the rock when there's like snow on the holes. And that's why you're taking heinous whippers and getting horrible catches, is because you're like, there's just snow on the wall. Like you just need to come back in like drier conditions, and then you'll be able to like summit.
Right. And the thing is any one of the whippers, like she takes several, right? At least 3, and any one of them would have ended the climb for me, like, or anybody else. Sure. Like she just gets clobbered, ends up next to Eric Bana, and he's kind of making fun of her, and like, I don't know. It was so like once again so like detached from what we do as climbers. Like if you fell like that, you're gonna be like, holy fucking shit, I'm done.
Well, he's coddling her emotional state of mind instead of being like, well, you know, you are trying to climb snowy rock, you know, it's probably gonna end with like a whipper. Like that's what I would say if I was her partner. And he's like, oh, you know, you try so hard, you're doing so good. Like, you know, he's kind of like coddling her, like her or tempering her like fire to get to the top. He's like, oh, we could just come
One
back,
other thing,
know?
Sorry, Ryan, I want to let you talk a sec, but one other thing I want to point out is that I have a timestamp here that I wrote down, and it's 2:42. So that was how long the movie had been running at that point. And I wrote down, he gonna die. Like right away, I knew Eric Bana was fucking doomed. He was the red shirt on Star Trek. Like he was there to die on this mountain 100%. I didn't know how, but I knew he was done for. I also wrote down there will be base jumping, and I was wrong about that. So anyway, keep going. Sorry, Ryan.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's worth talking about that, because I mean, we could probably spend an hour just talking about her climbing there, but she does a lot more climbing in other parts of the movie that I think is far more interesting. But yes, he does die. I mean, it's very vertical limit fashion, but basically, I mean, I think like a serac comes off and like clobbers them, and they start tumbling down, and then she ends up, she's got him. He's hanging from her. She's holding on to his line. Again, I'm watching it on a 4-inch screen, so I couldn't quite. I'm like trying to pinch to zoom in. I'm like, is that an ATC or what do they have him on? But ultimately, she makes the decision to let him go, right? Like she has to. Like she just runs out of gas to hold him.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So there's a discontinuity there. Where they you know, she takes all these whippers, they can't summit, and then they kind of retreat to their base camp. And then what is the decision that goes into them wrapping down in the middle of the night in this like big heinous storm? Like, why didn't they just stay there for like until morning or something like that?
Isn't he over it? They have this whole big heart to heart about how he's done with this kind of thing.
Tomorrow when the sun's out.
Well,
maybe the storm.
Did the first avalanche hit before they start going down, or did? Because I know the rock fall is what killed him,
and then or to their portal edge camp, and then for some reason they made the decision to like, we got to get out of here now, and so they're wrapping in the night, and it's like
simul wrapping, by the way.
And then the dude gets hit by something that comes off the top, rips the anchor off. She's, at a different point on the
at that time she went down first, and she's hanging on a cam, and a la Vertical Limit, the cam is coming out. These movies are terrible for like these engineers who built these cams, because they all just explode out of the rock at any body weight basically rips these fucking things out of the wall. So yeah, she's holding him, and she's telling him that the anchor's coming out, or she's saying, you're ripping us off the mountain. And it shows, of course, the cam like pull, and and then she has to let him go. And it's interesting because the last movie night we did, right, was the animated film.
Yeah.
It also dealt with this whole touching the void thing where he had to cut the rope, which is interesting because, and I think you always say this about climbing fiction, Andrew, is that climbing has the most amazing shit in it. Why do you have to make stuff up? And this is a great example of how these movies keep repeating this thing that actually happened in real life, which was, the cutting of your partner's rope to save yourself. And so she does that.
She doesn't cut the rope.
No, she just lets it go.
She doesn't. Yeah. Well, she's like holding the end of the rope, and he's like, there's like 6 inches between belay device and her hand, and she's holding on to that, and for some reason it's just like can't hold on anymore. Presumably, I mean, she can't like there's not enough rope to like tie a knot or something. She can't like get out of it, so she's just holding on with her hand. And at some point, and he's unconscious, and like fucked
And the
up
cam's ripping out.
and the cam's ripping out, and she just like lets go of the rope at some point, and he just falls
Which
all
I
the
don't
way
think
to the
I
bottom of
just
the
don't
troll
think
wall.
would ever be possible. Like, do you think that you could hold a human from a rope? It's like 8 millimeters.
No,
There's no way. There's no way anyone could ever hold anyone one-handed with a rope.
Just holding the rope.
You have to twist it around your arm or something like that. There's no holding the rope. I don't know. That's the only issue I have with this movie.
That's it. The fingerless gloves, the Miras in winter, or rather Mythos in winter.
Well, if you had the fingerless gloves on, you probably could hold the rope because you'd have all that grip in your palm
exactly
from the glove.
What is the deal with these climbing movies and the partner dying in the first,
That's what I'm talking
10
about.
minutes
They
of
just
the
repeated
film?
that shit. Yep.
Well, so for this one, and for most movies, obviously, you have to have some sort of like inciting incident and some conflict that like sends your hero off into their journey. And I think, in my opinion, I felt that she didn't have a very clear kind of emotional arc in this.
I agree.
But I think what they were trying to do was create this situation of grief and guilt that then sends her on this almost like kind of, I'm going to find myself solo mission that she has in Australia and like the kind of the back country where she's trying to deal with these feelings of letting her partner go. And, she's out there trying to say goodbye and deal with this. But like, I don't think it paid off quite well for her, but I think that's probably what the writer was intending. And by the way, just as like a little Hollywood trivia, I was reading that this script was a blacklist script, and the blacklist is something that was created a long while ago that essentially people in the industry vote on the best unproduced scripts every year, and they're put on the blacklist. So the blacklist is a good thing. The blacklist was formerly a bad thing. If you were blacklisted, you were considered a communist under the McCarthy era or whatever. Right. There's like this whole like Hollywood blacklist. But then there was kind of the term blacklist was made cool by this, I don't know, mysterious governing body that basically nominates the best unproduced screenplays every year. And so this screenplay was a blacklisted screenplay from like 6 or 7 years ago, meaning it was, everybody loved it, but for whatever reason, it didn't get made. And then I guess Netflix acquired it at some point in time and kind of turned it into this. And so I
That's
think
what
Netflix
we bring you on the show for, Ryan. The fucking shit right there. That's the goods. You guys, you bonus Patreon listeners, that's the goods we're getting out of Ryan Devlin. Well, I want to say something about that too, because somewhere in the film, quite a bit later, they remind us that Eric Bana was Australian. And although it's not explicit, you just have to pick up on his accent or know who he is. And they later remind us that she's there to maybe like dump his ashes or like pay tribute to him. But yeah, you're right. It was a little bit unclear. To me, when they jump cut to her driving down the road in the Outback, it just feels like to me, oh, well, she's just got over it and she's on her next like freaky adventure.
Well, she had the compass though. Yeah. The compass was his like totem.
But did we see that? Oh yeah, she did right away. That's right. When she was looking at the map. But anyhow, yeah.
I don't know. I just think like using the like death of your partner is like the driving impetus. I don't know. I've just lost like so many climbing partners that I mean, I could barely be brought off the couch at this point to like, pay tribute to them, So it's like, I mean, like if he had like there's so many other like possibilities. Like, what if he had just like gone up and been like, I'll show you how to climb this route, and he just like goes up and sends the snowy roof pitch that she was falling on. Like that could have been like a really cool driving impetus for her to like go to Australia and like learn his secrets for getting strong to to send the troll wall. Instead it's his death. So I don't know.
Well, I want to say one other thing too about this scene is that the thing that I think cliffhanger remains like the best probably the best climbing movie ever made, or the climbing parts of the Eiger Sanction. The rest of it maybe not so good, because it was like real people doing real stunts. Like this whole thing was so magically created. You had like, if you saw someone 20 years ago or 25 years ago take that whipper that she takes, you're like, okay, that's a stunt person like getting pummeled taking that whipper. And now you just don't know. Like it's like AI produced, or it's CGI produced, or all these sorts of things. And it kind of, I'd rather see something that looked a little bit dumb, but it was real, as opposed to this like, when the rocks are falling past them in like kind of slow motion, they look like meteors and stuff. And I don't know, it grosses me out. It bums me out that basically like Cliffhanger was, and I think maybe into Vertical Limit was the end of that era of like real stunts, as CGI started to be like good enough. Back in the day you could see it and you could tell it was there, but now it's just like you have no idea like what's going on and who did what. It bums me out a little bit. I'm just saying.
I think it was a bit of a bummer I fully agree with that, because I think for those of us who, most of the general public are going to see that opening scene where they open up these unzip the portal edge, and like they look down and they look up, and it's like kind of a vertigo inducing, kind of cinematography there. Most people will watch that and just be like, that's wicked cool. But for anybody who's spent any time outdoors or on the mountains, they're going to see that was just like fully green screened. And I agree that it was a bit of a bummer, because so much of the other stunts in the movie were actually practical. So
right.
we haven't gotten there yet, but obviously she worked with Beth
yeah.
Rodden, and like there's all these climbing things that like obviously, no doubt she was doing on top rope and all these things, because she's a megastar. You're not going to put your actors at risk, and you can't. But they were practically shot. So practical meaning it was real. It was a real location on real cliffs in real rivers, doing whitewater rafting with stunt people and mixing in the actors. Although I think both actors did quite a bit of their stunts as well, based on some interviews I read with the director. But that first 10 minutes was like so cooked that I agree it was like a bit of a bummer, because then you get into the real stuff, but you've kind of already got this like a little bit of a green screen gloss vibe going from that opening scene.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Harry Potter movie to me.
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
But again,
Which
that's
is
all just
fine.
the inciting incident. That's the first 10 minutes. Then we get into
Yeah.
the movie. The movie starts when she goes to the convenience store and like or actually when she walks into the ranger station, and there's like all these missing
I wouldn't
posters
go
of all
out
these
there
missing
late,
people.
Yeah,
Don't go out there lying. If anybody wants to learn how to put on
you're good.
an
That was
Australian
good. He's an
accent,
actor.
yeah. So when you're an actor and you need to learn an accent that's not your own accent, you come up with what's called a keyword. And so the keyword is a word that you say that kind of gets you into that accent. And so I had to do an Australian role for one of my roles back in the day. And the keyword for me that I worked out was, this is going to sound racist, so I'm going to prepare people that I'm not being racist.
This is Patreon. We can be racist
like-
on the Patreon.
When you drink an ice cold Coke in Australia, for me, the keyword is kike. So kike, K-I-K-E is how I would pronounce it. So like an ice cold kike. Like, hi there, can I get an ice cold kike? And it's kind of like in the back of the throat. So if you ever want to learn, maybe you could use my keyword. If you ever want to learn an Australian accent, you can use, give me one of those ice cold kikes over there.
No, I'll stay away from the derogatory word for a Jewish person.
And
if you don't
I'm
mind.
canceled.
Okay. I can drinking a kike.
Kike.
It is Australian though. You're absolutely right. The way it comes out. But yeah, I think the Australian thing was actually really cool when those, and this is an Australian word I knew before. But the fucking bogans, right? The bogans, which are Australian rednecks, are in the shop, and actually, those dudes and how they turn up later are kind of like one of the scariest parts of the movie. Like the bearded bogan guy that turns up and stares at her through her window.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. Like I was like, ooh, that's actually, that moment was when it really like captured me, the film. I was like, okay, this is going to get creepy and weird and wild. And it was just that dude. And he's got this tiny role. He's just a mean redneck that, hits on her or kind of like, and then freaks her out later. But yeah, the Bogans were a great kind of like, let's get the creepiness going. And it was also a misdirection too, because they tried to misdirect you from the nice guy. Although we knew as soon as he walked into the movie, he's what's the guy's name? Egerton?
Ben.
Yeah. So, he's like the antagonist, even though they try to set him up as like the friendly guy.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I knew he was a bad guy as soon as there was the beef jerky scene. It was
but when
such
did
a
it dawn on you
random-
that was people?
Huh?
How long did it take for you to be like, that's
I
people?
knew instantly.
Really?
I knew instantly as well.
I knew instantly. I
I'm
was like,
oh man,
that's people.
yeah, I was like, because I was like, beef jerky, like, I was like, that dude's the bad guy, and he's selling people beef jerky to this fucking gas station.
Yep.
Like, I knew instantly that was,
100%.
yeah.
the beef jerky's people.
It really is. That's the Chekhov's gun. We've talked about the Chekhov's gun before, which is like, if something seems odd that they're like pointing to it, it's definitely coming back. And like, why else would they have beef jerky be a part of this scene if it wasn't people?
I'm just a dummy, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
It took me a little
I
while.
thought that was super obvious. I was like, okay, he's the bad guy.
It took me till he showed up later that I was like, oh, he's people. There's people, and he's the one that made them all disappear. Yeah, I'm dumb. Sorry. But yeah, that's a big spoiler. The beef jerky's people, everybody. If Charlton Heston was still alive, he could have they could have had him as a cameo. Charlton Heston from Soylent Green.
Oh yeah.
Anyone? Soylent Green is people. No.
Yeah, Soylent Green is people. It's made of people. People.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised, dude. I don't trust anything anymore.
Those Triscuits, those are people.
Yeah.
It's woven people.
Only three ingredients: wheat, salt, and people.
Yeah, so then the deal is that she's going off for a kayaking adventure because she's multi-sport.
It was super weird to me. Like, I didn't know that part. It took me a while to figure out like what she was even doing or what she was trying to do.
That reminded me of Point Break 2, the remake of Point Break, which maybe we could do on here because it does have like some climbing in it and some climbers. Chris Sharma actually makes a cameo in that film. But it reminded me, I thought like, oh, okay, now, extreme sports. That's why I was like, they're going to base jump off of something at some point. I was almost sure of it. I mean, I was sure of it, but I was wrong. But I just thought, okay, well, they're going to like, muscle in another extreme sport because it's a movie about someone who does extreme sports. And I think that Hollywood thinks of climbers that way a little bit, that we're just these thrill seekers that will do whatever we can to get our like adrenaline pump going. So I think that's like kind of a normal like characteristic of the way Hollywood thinks about climbers. We'll just do whatever. We'll climb it. We'll jump off of it. We'll go down the river, whatever it takes to get our little high.
To be fair to Hollywood, which I'm not usually, but some are. I mean, you've got the Dean Potter, series that just concluded out there, and like the characters who are worth making out of characters in movies are the Dean Potters. They're not making movies about us who are like, I'm just going to go out and climb some single pitch sport, nice and safe, and be home for dinner. They want the people who are doing the fucking slack lines over a valley with no tether and that kind of thing. So I think it's not unbelievable that Charlize would be into other things because Eric Bana in the opening had kind of given her a bit of shit for kind of flying too close to the sun, and he was like, I think I'm ready to kind of hang it up, and she's not ready yet. But also, again, it wasn't very clear why she was there. I even wonder if there was a scene in that portaledge where he's like, I just want to go back to the old watering hole, deep in the Blue Mountains or whatever, and so like
have a kike,
have an ice cold kike, and just make some people jerky or whatever, and like that's what maybe why she's going, because it's not clear why she's navigating these waters or why she's even there, but she's there to find herself or whatever.
Yeah. So one of the great lines in this film or one of the most memorable ones for me was Ben when he's still the good guy, the charismatic, nice guy. He's not the rapey bogan, and he's kind of, I did appreciate the way that they set that up. They like really did try to deceive you with throwing in those like those those bogan distractors, like they seem like the rapey guys, and it made Ben seem more charismatic. So I thought that was like pretty successful, even though it was very clear that he was making people jerky like from the get-go.
So successful, other than that he was selling jerky from people.
But he's giving her directions to get to this place that she wants to go for some reason, which again I was never clear about. And he's like, do you want to go the easy way or the hard way? And she's like, the best way. And I thought that was cool, and I'm going to use that line anytime anyone asks me for beta on a route.
Do you want to go the easy way or the hard way?
Just give me the best way.
Yeah, give me the best way. Which means what? The most fun?
No.
Well, I thought again, like to the characterization of Charlize, like she's a badass and she handles herself through the movie like that, and I liked her responses to him were like slightly exasperated, and also this person who's been out there it was clearly like based on like a lot of the women we know who travel climbing. Like, I don't have time for this guy. I'm going to be polite but dismissive. I'm going to roll up my window and drive away, which reminds me, of an interview I did where the person I was talking to was like, at least in a van, you can drive away. Like when shit gets weird, you can put your keys in there and drive away. And she totally dismisses him with this confidence that made me believe that she was like this character, who she was. Because aside from the kayaking and the climbing, when you're out doing these things in these sort of man's worlds, as a woman, you get this armor of like, okay, buddy, and Australians men are known particularly for their sort of forwardness with all that. And she just kind of blows him off, which is cool. But then it sets up that scene where she goes to his suggested campsite, and then the bogans show up after having been out poaching deer, and she hides in her van and locks the doors while they basically like skin and quarter a deer right in her campsite. And the dude comes and stares at her through the window, and then they cut to her waking up. So they took off eventually. But I thought that was like a real good tension builder.
Yeah, I agree. I think the movie kind of starts there. I mean, aside from like the opening gambit, the movie starts there where it's like, okay, who's after what's going to come back here, and it really built great tension. And it was super creepy. Like they're skinning this deer, and they show like them skinning the deer, which made me very uncomfortable as a vegetarian. And and then like he's just like staring at her and smiling at her with like the fire flames flickering off his face and this kind of thing. It just built tension really, really well. But then the next day she wakes up, they're gone, and she kind of starts like this journey, and so you get a chance to breathe. Like it's not pedal to the metal thriller from that point on. You kind of get this chance to breathe, and she's going out there doing a super badass kayaking.
Yeah, it's funny because you get like this 5-minute, what I thought of as like a 5-point film. We have 5-point film festival here, and they just like, we're gonna show the beauty of this canyon and some cool kayaking, and I'm sure they hired some probably Australian kayaker that made some fucking huge payday getting to kayak this river for the film, and which I'm always a tip of the hat, because I'm sure it was just like some kayaker that made a payday, and and it's like a 5-point film of her kayaking this kick-ass section of river for a few minutes, like you said, like a breather, like a film you'd see in any outdoor film festival.
I mean, just because you brought it up, I was gonna wait to say this, but the cinematography I thought was really beautiful, and the director did a great job capturing the action sports, like all the plot, like things that we can kind of nitpick aside. The actual like footage of the kayaking and then the climbing scene at the end, which we'll talk about, I thought was really, really well done. It was like professionally done, and like this dude like had clearly done his homework. What's his name again? The director is
Balthazar something?
Baltasar Kormaker. I don't know anything about him, but
He's
I
done
thought he
like
did a great job, like putting together these like action sports scenes. And if for no other reason, you should watch a film just for those, especially if you're in like kind of outdoor media, if you're a cinematographer, a DP, filmmaker, or something like that. I thought that he did a really, really fantastic job with that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really captivating. It's interesting because I wasn't familiar with him. I looked him up. He's directed a bunch of outdoor like thriller movies, all named the same, like one word. So Adrift, Beast, and then I don't know if you guys I never saw this one. This could be movie night fodder, but this was like 10 years ago. Everest. He directed Everest, the film, the thriller.
Is that with Jake Gyllenhaal? Is it that one?
No
I think
idea.
it is.
Never
Yeah,
saw it.
Didn't Jake Gyllenhaal do an Everest movie? Anyway, you're right though. Let's put that on the list.
We'll add it to the list. Anyway, yes, I think I would agree with that though, Andrew. And I thought that scene for me, not being somebody who's like wanting to be tense the whole time, was a nice breather. Of course, it was just the calm before the storm because like the shit kind of really goes down pretty soon after that. But it was just a nice little postcard to like the tourism board of the Blue Mountains.
Yeah, but some of the drone footage that they brought in and some of the camera techniques and the camera movement techniques I thought were really sophisticated. Like they were just like really, really well done. And all of the points aside about the film, that I just again want to just give one more props to him for doing that, because I thought it was like A+ work.
Yeah.
Can I tell a story about canyoning in the Blue Mountains?
Oh yeah.
So this is filmed in the Blue Mountains, and they have a whole canyoning industry. When I was there so many years ago, I was like 23 or whatever, 22, something like that. And I was staying with these guys who were climbers, but they worked as guys that guided canyoning. And I was like super intense climber. I'm like not taking rest days, just fucking anybody wants to climb, I'm climbing with them. They're like farming me out to partners and all this sort of stuff. And then one day they're like, hey, we need another person to check rappels on this canyoning trip. Do you want to go and do that? Like where I would be at a station where I would make sure that everybody, the clients hooked up and everything else. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm like, fucking no, I'm going climbing, dude. That's what I do. That's who I am. And they're like, oh, that's too bad. And they knew this. They set this all up because they were like, well, turns out that our clients are like 9 Ansett stewardesses. And at that time, Ansett was the like domestic, I think they're been dissolved or eaten up by a monopoly, but they were like the domestic airline in Australia. And I was like, you know what? Actually, maybe I do have time to go canyoning. So I got to go canyoning in the Blue Mountains in a, similar situation as what you see in here and with a bunch of stewardesses. And they did, before anyone gets on my case, that's what they called them back then. They're flight attendants now. But yeah, it was actually quite an enjoyable day of canyoning with some stewardesses, one of whom then showed me around Sydney a few weeks later. So I appreciated that opportunity to go canyoning. And we did not find a single salted and mummified body while we were canyoning.
That's
You
amazing.
just got to go a bit further, mate.
Yeah,
They're
right.
back
Have
there.
another kike.
Like, that's awesome. What a great story. I mean, you lived the life in the Blue Mountains, man. That's fantastic.
Yep, did a lot of climbing there, but
Shout out to our Australian rope guns. I'm going to be out in Australia in July, so I'll be looking for some
where?
catches / jerky, people jerky.
I'll
Open
get
jerky.
a people meat pie. Actually, would be even more delicious.
Oh yeah.
Have
Little
a
Vegemite.
nice cold solo in a people meat pie. Where are you going to
Spotlight and
be,
a meat pie.
Ryan?
I'm going to be visiting my sister's family. They just recently moved actually from the Blue Mountains to like northwest of Melbourne. So I think we're going to get out to the Grampians for a day.
Yeah, that's
and
where the Grampians are.
We'll do that.
All right, hit Ryan up. He needs
Yep.
a guide friend for the Grampians.
No, it's already sorted. In fact, he was on my show and was he on your show? Or did he designed your stickers? He's a tattoo artist in
Millar.
Australia. What's that?
What's his first name? It's Millar. His last name's Millar.
Yeah, Dusty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daniel, I think, is maybe his real name, but it's he goes by Dusty. Yeah, Dusty Millar.
The tattoo guy.
Yeah, the tattoo guy. That's what I'm saying. Anyway,
fuck yeah, dude.
I'm gonna meet up with him. We're gonna go climbing. He's a
Awesome.
dude. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just sent me a sweet ass that I need to print up a sweet ass Craig to Jim bumper sticker. So that he made.
Oh, sick.
Says I support Craig to Jim.
Before, Ryan?
No, I've never been before, and sadly, I think I'm only going to get one, or if I'm very lucky, 2 days. Dusty's trying to talk me into a second day so I can go check out like Punks and.
Yeah, you got to go to Rapley's, dog.
Yeah.
Grampians is cool, but the Rapley's is the fucking basis of it.
It's like another like 2.5 hours further though from where we're at.
Yes, it is. This is true.
Anyway, I'll try my best, but if not, I'll
go
go back. But like can we get back to cannibalism?
No, before we get back to the film, I just want to mention one of the great pleasures of Australian climbing: stumpies.
The fucking lizards.
Yeah, those little fucking lizards are amazing.
Yeah.
What?
Like
have Dusty make sure.
They look like a little like dildo, and you can just like pick one up and it's like,
they're little like horny toad type lizards that are not afraid of you, and you can just pick them up.
Yeah, they're so cool.
Like I have a picture of a dude with them in 2 pieces of bread, like pretending to eat them. They're like totally chill, and they're not poisonous. Don't just pick up any reptile you see, Ryan, because it's
you'll know a stumpy
notoriously
when you see it.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
Australia's
stumpies are
like
fucking chill.
Terrifying hellscape of insects and arachnids and reptiles that'll kill you. I'm a little bit nervous of going there actually, but I'll look for the stumpies. Speaking of stumpies, are we talking about teeth? Are we talking about cannibals? What are we talking about here? Yeah.
Yeah, fast forward. So Ben turns out to be the bad guy, and there's the whole meat and potatoes of the film is he starts his cat and mouse game where he's chasing Charlize Theron, aka Sasha, through the wilderness, through this like river kind of canyon wilderness. He gives her a head start by playing a song. He's got this like demonic kind of like bird cacaw noise that he makes.
That was unsettling.
Very unsettling. Yeah,
that's
they do a good job of making him a real psychopath who, you know, is obviously just kind of out there, you know, luring people into his demented world and then enjoying the hunt of tracking them down for his perverted and disgusting purposes.
So did you guys ever read in school, did they ever have you read The Most Dangerous Game? The short story where the guy hunts the human?
It was a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a movie as well. But yeah, it's an old short story. I can't remember who it's by, but yeah, where it's like, you know, some big game, like British big game hunter that same thing, like gives the dude a few things and a head start because he wants the sport of it. And that's like the gist of this. He's like doing some sort of what he thinks is like this tribal ritual where if he finds this kind of someone who's worthy of the hunt, then he will eat her liver. We get to later on, but yeah, and the whole I wish actually the scene where he's fucking dancing to the music while she gets her head start, I kind of wish it was like another few minutes longer. I felt like they could have taken that a little harder, almost, is what I felt like. But it's a great scene, and it, you know, he finally loses the mask of being this. It's edged up to there, like that he's a psycho, but he's kind of like, you know, it's happening, but he's pretending to be sort of normal, and that's when like the mask completely comes off. And it's I think it's great.
Yeah, and I was reading an interview with the director, and apparently that scene was the actor's idea, Taron Egerton's idea. It was not in the script. And he was like, when we give her this head start, like, I'm going to play this music. I'm going to do this dance. And like when it went down, the director was saying, just like in the moment, he was like, I don't think this is going to work for this movie. And then they got into the edit and they were like, that's fucking creepy and rad. Let's keep it in there. And it is super, the way it was shot, which was kind of like low angle. And like he reminded me of Scandinavian Raver. Remember? Like it's like,
the dude, the Viking guy, famous meme.
Yeah. The
like
famous
the Viking
meme
Raver.
Viking Raver. Where he's just like boom, boom, and he's just like his movements are fucking sharp, and he's like on a pound of meth or whatever, and like it was very, like he was very channeling that. I felt like, yeah, I wasn't clear actually. I mean, again, we're kind of jumping ahead to when he brings her back to his like lair where all the people are being dried and whatever. He gives some sort of exposition about why he's doing it and his motivations, and his like mom comes into it. And I actually don't know, maybe it's because I was watching it, in sections, but like it actually wasn't clear to me what his motivation was. Okay.
That was, I think, a real weakness of the film, actually.
Yeah, I think he was just a psycho. I don't think there was anything deeper.
Well,
than
then leave
that.
it at that. But don't hint at this like mom thing and then not really flesh it out like with something creepy. Because they,
that's a fair point.
She used it to try to get at him because she's like something about his mom and try to get, and it's like, I mean, that's, it's like all these, it's like back to Psycho, like that's the Psycho thing, right?
Right.
Your mom and what your mom said or did to you turned you into this, but there was no payoff like in Psycho where his mom is mummified there in the rocking chair or whatever. It was just kind of like vaguely noted that his mom and him had this weird relationship that was something.
I mean, this is the second time that this writer for this film has like kind of leveraged kind of lazy tropes that kind of do a lot of work without him having to spell anything out or do any kind of explaining. Why does her partner's death send her on this journey? It's like an easy thing to do. Like, oh, her partner dies. That means that she has to go to Australia and go kayaking. Like, no,
right.
I don't need to explain anything further than that. And like we hint at the mom being part of his story as a psycho, and I don't need to do any more explaining because there's like,
because it's mom,
kind of, it's
Mom's
his mom.
fuck, yeah.
There's like weird, it just gestures and nods toward like,
Psycho.
an upbringing of some kind.
I just think it's like a full like, see Psycho, and then you'll know why his mom fucked
exactly.
him up. But we're not going to explain it here,
Exactly. Yes, and as you were saying, Chris, this is the plot's like derivative of The Most Dangerous Game, and so there's a lot of like leveraging of pre-existing plots and storylines that kind of fall, and I think a lot of viewers did kind of pick up on that, and a lot of the reviews I saw were kind of disappointed in the film for that reason. They felt there was like a bit of laziness with the storytelling and the plot and so forth. And a lot of it came down to this like whole cat and mouse game that kind of unfolds where people were responding to the fact that, Charlize never like came off as like being more clever, or like they just felt it could have been like, brought up to level 11, like the cleverness of like his cunningness could have been dialed up to make him more evil. Her cleverness could have been brought up to make her more, heroic. And all of that, back and forth where they're chasing each other and finally he catches her. I think people were a bit underwhelmed by, and I agree with that. I thought that was kind of, in a way, it's like the main part of the film, but in a way, it's like the weakest part of the film.
Ryan, are you in a Pop-Tart, dog?
Yeah, guys, it's like 10:15. I just messaged my wife to slide a Pop-Tart under the door. Hey, I'll have you know though, I'm not a monster. These are protein Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I saw those in the store the other day. Literally, I just saw those. I'm like, they put protein. I saw Doritos with protein on the package too. I swear to God, I have a picture of it. So I was just like, yeah, there's a lot. It's nutritious, dog.
I'm the target, dude. I am like the bullseye. When they're doing the focus groups, they're like, who will pay $3 more for a box of Pop-Tarts if we just put the word protein on it? And it's just a picture of me. And I'm like, oh, fucking protein Pop-Tarts? Let's go. We got to take care of these gains, you guys. My body is a temple. I'm a vegetarian. I can't eat
Human
people
jerky is
all
what
day
you
long.
need to graduate to human jerky, dude. So much protein.
Next,
I forgot what we were talking about. What did you just say?
Well, let's talk about
Yeah.
the end scene, because this is when it
Okay.
gets back to the climbing.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to get to the end scene yet. Sorry.
Okay.
Because my favorite part of the film, and I thought the most kind of like clever action thing, was when she, sort of escapes, but she's still tied to the dude. And the whole thing of them going down the river tethered to one another was really, I thought, was like a cool way to do kind of the, jump in the river to get away and go through the rapids thing, but they're actually connected to one another. I thought that was totally sick. And then how
Agreed.
it ends, with them, both of them like exhausted. He almost drowns. She tries to kill him with a big rock and it doesn't work. And so he's still alive. That's so gnarly when she fucking breaks his leg with the rock. Like, I like horror movies, Ryan, but I don't like kind of any movie that has like visibly breaking of bones, like really bothers me.
Yeah.
Where you hear the snap. Like, I can never watch those like skateboard videos where dudes like fucking, break their arm and they hold their arm up and it's like bent, and that is not my thing. Even if it's fake, like in this case where she like totally smashes his leg into a compound fracture. I hate compound fractures. I've seen a few in real life. I've dealt with them fine, but in fake life and movie life, I fucking can't handle them. So they end up, I just thought that was really exciting. And like, again, it's from a stunt standpoint, it was super fucking cool because it was obviously some people, at least in the river to a certain extent with editing and things like that. It wasn't just, somebody in a pool somewhere. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, I agree. That was an original, because we're talking about kind of all the revisited tropes. That
Yeah.
did feel original when they were tethered.
Mhm.
And that is where she used some cunning as well to try to keep him underwater, and just the way they were going through the rapids and all that. It was pretty gripping, and that was shot really cool. Again, to the credit of the director and cinematographer, that was a very exciting kind of pre-climax scene. I think it was much more exciting, in fact, than the final climbing scene that we're about to talk about. Like that felt like the climax of the movie.
So they end up on this beach. She breaks his fucking leg. She's tethered to him with this cable. It's not even a rope, it's a cable, because she tries to break it with a rock and she can't do it. He's done for. And they're actually, again, in terms of like what you're talking about, a breath, there's this lull, right? As they lay there on the beach, she passes out, he passes out. They wake up tethered to one another. And this is the final setup for the climbing scene.
Yeah, so they lie there for, overnight, it seems like, or something, some amount of time. And, she starts reasoning with him, and she's like, dude, you're going to die of gangrene or whatever. So she proposes this idea. She's like, he's wearing a harness, which is, I'm not even clear why exactly.
Because they repelled into his little chamber. We didn't even talk about that. He's got all the dead people in his chamber, and they repelled in, remember?
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. She makes this like proposition. She's like, give me your climbing harness. It's an Arc'teryx Skaha harness, in case anyone's wondering. She's like, give me your harness. I'm going to lead out of this cliff and I'll bring us up, because you're not going to fucking make it. And you can just press up the rope and we'll get to the top. And then, you'll live and we'll part ways. It's kind of like this deal that they kind of set with each other. His leg is like, it has this heinous compound fracture. He's going to die of an infection at some point soon. And so he agrees to this deal. And so it is like a great way to bring climbing into like a genre of film in this way. That feels like, you go along with it as the viewer, and it doesn't feel too contrived.
I disagree.
Really? I don't know. I mean,
Totally.
I was kind of bought in. I was like, okay, whatever. That's like a cool way to bring climbing back into this film. But yeah,
I realize that
that's definitely why I'm wrong.
I realize that it is a plot way to get climbing back in the movie, but it makes no sense. And actually, I did a little time on Reddit to see what people's reactions to this movie was. And even like, I found this Reddit thread where it was like, I'm not even a climber. I don't really know how it works, but it doesn't make any sense that she needed to have him along for the climb. And there's some sense that she needs the harness. And she says something about like, but she doesn't, because they're using a cable for one thing. And secondly, like, she doesn't have any way to, I mean, I guess she puts in those knots. That's kind of interesting. But even when I was watching it, I was like, because they're like, it's hard to explain, but they're both exhausted, but they're tied together by this like 30 or 40 foot tether that is a cable of some sort, because she can't cut it with it. She tries to cut it with a rock.
It's not a cable. And he unlocks her, and they have a climbing rope. So they have a rope.
Oh, right, because she needs the rope. All right.
Yeah,
but
so
the
she
whole
uses
thing
the rope to climb on. And
when I was in the movie, when I was watching the movie, I'm like, just fucking throw rocks at him until he's dead. That was my solution. Right. Because he can't move. His leg's fucked up. She already broke his leg with a rock. I'm like, just finish the job. And then you can unclip it, and then you can free solo out, because she free solos out anyway.
Kind of put yourself like in this position. Like, obviously this is a movie, and the writer wanted to get these two kind of quote unquote working together to get out.
Right.
But I agree that there's a suspension of disbelief that one must go through as the audience in order to allow that to happen, so that you can have this kind of ultimate scene. But my mind immediately went there as well. I was like, okay, so this guy's been hunting her for days, brought her back to his like freaky, weird mom picture bloated bodies hanging jerky lair, showed her his filed teeth, and then tried to kill her.
Filed teeth. We forgot.
And then she smashes his leg, and he's just a sitting fucking duck.
Right.
And she's fine. Like, why didn't she just kill him and then like hike out or paddle out or whatever? I don't know. Maybe I missed something. Obviously, they want to get these two climbing together at the end, but that's where my mind went too. I was like, kill this guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. One of the funny observations I have about this film was they really bring in like his toxic masculinity in a funny way, like right in this end scene where he's like in the most vulnerable position. Well, first of all, he's like been dominating her the whole film, and now he's like got this broken, busted leg. His life is in her hands in some way, and he's kind of relying on her to save his life. And she's like putting on the harness, and he starts like giving her tips about how the harness fits. And like, there's like a few little lines in there that are so fucking funny where he's just like, he's like he's like mansplaining to her, like how like climbing gear works. And she's just like, I got it, dude. Like, just shut the fuck up. You've been trying to kill me this whole fucking movie.
Catch that. That's awesome.
You're gonna die without me. Just like shut the fuck up, please.
That's like
it's so fucking awesome.
It's truly the most accurate climbing references in the entire film is the fucking mansplaining at the crag to the climber who's way better than him. That's good. So to bring the audience to where we're at. So obviously they decided that they needed to climb out together. She's going to lead, every pitch and kind of set up a belay, and he's going to Prussic up, and he didn't know how to do that. So she was teaching him how to do that. And the idea was she needs him because she wants a belay on the way out, and he needs her because he won't get out otherwise. And so they're going to work together to get out of this thing. But very early into her climbing up, she's trying to figure out how to take the harness out. Because also for the audience who hasn't seen this, the cable that was tethering them together during the river scene, he's reattached now to the harness for some reason and not her, I guess so she could climb or whatever. But he was like, if you're fiddling with this harness, I'm going to yank you off the wall or whatever. And so kind of the threat was, if you try to leave me midway up this wall, I'm taking you down. We're both going to die together. But pretty soon into the climb, she's starting to figure out how she can take this harness off and leave him on the wall, which again I think undermines this idea of needing him to belay. Like, why didn't she just smash his head with a rock before she started climbing and then just like rope solo it?
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
just
you know.
untie the knot to her harness. Like,
Yeah, she's
didn't
like
even have to
clipped
take the
to
whole
it
harness
somehow,
off.
like with a one of those things you basically need a wrench to undo. I think
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's like
the
a
other
stirrup
thing,
clip.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So
That's
how
true.
about the nod to the Czech style knot climbing that they
Some
did?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
so her pro is knots that she's putting in the crack, like the those Czech towers or the German place where you place the wadded up knots.
And she's climbing barefoot with no chalk.
No chalk, barefoot, putting knots in on a cable.
And
Fucking
it
badass.
looks it's pretty chaucy. I mean, she's pulling some chunks off as she goes. It's overhung. I mean, there's definitely like some parts in there where she's traversing and kind of having to work around some bulges. And I thought in my mind they were going to bring back the opening scene because she kept pitching off of this like overhung bulge with Eric Bana on the troll wall and like couldn't do it. And I just thought like it seemed like such a miss to me that they didn't mirror back to that. Like they could have easily
Well, they
planted
did.
something in that first scene where like she's like, I can't reach. And he's like, well, you just need to turn your hips or you need to jump and she's like, I don't jump or, whatever. And then like in the last scene, like that could have happened again. It could have been almost like, echoed back to that, but that didn't quite happen unless I missed it.
You missed it because they did do that.
I think so. Yeah, the ending.
Yeah, they did do that. They did echo back to the overhang that she couldn't climb before on the troll wall.
After she's
And of course, at this
free-soloing.
point, I mean, like spoiler alert, she gets out of her harness, dumps the anchor, and Ben, falls to his death.
His
And so
very
now she's like,
gruesome fucking death.
Gruesome death. Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, like it was super gruesome. Like you see his head explode on a rock. And I was still like, he's going to show up at the top of this cliff. Like
Jason
I was so
style. Yeah,
I was
like
so
Jason in Friday the
traumatized.
13th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like
I couldn't relax.
Yeah, so she dumps Ben, and so but she's the thrill of the movie is not quite over, and she has to free solo out to get to the top. And to your point, Ryan, she does do. I think at that point she takes the fucking king line out of the cliff. Like she
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't.
No,
go
she's
up the
clearly
fucking
like
gully.
there's like 2 or 3 ways you can see that are like way easier.
Yeah, she could have done the easy way, but she took the hard way.
No, she
No,
fucking
she took
goes
the
out
best
this
way.
like yeah.
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 And to go back to that line, do you want the easy way or the hard way? She took the fucking hard way and she free soloed barefoot out of the steep prow overhang. And honestly, when I watched that, I like had like sweaty palm, moments where like I was watching free
They had
solo
you.
or something. Like I was feeling like, ugh. It was tense. I was like in the film at that moment. I was like gripped by it. I thought it was like a cool, climactic, great, climbing, triumphant finish to the film.
Did it not upset you though that like the absolute triumph of her topping out, she fucking beach whales it?
Yeah, it wasn't the best style.
It was
I don't know where-
it was a
I don't know where
full beach
Beth
whale.
was on that particular consultation, but
I could have used more emotion from her at the top. Like she kind of just like lies there and there's nothing, she doesn't start crying. She doesn't start laughing. There's a, like kind of a range of emotions that I was a little bit missing. So yeah, climbing style aside for how she like alpine kneed her way, up over the top of the cliff.
I think she was just like she was invested in that like cool as a cucumber
Yeah.
tough girl thing that she had through the whole film because she never lost it really.
I wanted
she
to
was
see
always like
something
in
different
control.
at that moment though.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And that was her time for our protagonist to have that emotional kind of release.
Like she
There's a
could
lot
have
in
put
her
on some
eyes.
Q-tip and like done a little dance.
Right. On her phone, but she had already smashed her phone. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, again, going back to this kind of Hollywood thing. We will never again see a Hollywood climbing film without free soloing, for one thing. There's going to be free soloing in every climbing film for the rest of history, thanks to Alex Honnold. But also like cutting loose, like fucking cutting loose, which is usually like basically your climb is over, especially on the holds she was holding on to. Like, because they focus in on these fucking tiny holds she's grabbing, and then she cuts loose. And for most of us, like, it's done. Like a couple, accidental cutting looses and you're out of there. And it's like, fuck, I fucked that beta up. But it's always in the movies. They like to cut if you think back to Mission Impossible with the backwards Iron Cross of Tom Cruise, like cutting your feet loose is just going to be some exciting cinematography no matter what.
I think Charlize Theron has usurped Tom Cruise's mantle with this film in terms of like setting the bar for rad, like, but like Hollywood-esque, unbelievable, whatever climbing footage. Like, yeah, I just think that she like surpassed Tom Cruise with that. So whatever that genre is, like she's the queen and Tom Cruise is like a couple notches down at this point.
The actual end of the film, which is where she gets rescued, she's walking down the road, right? And I want to point out that it's girls helping girls, because instead of running into some fucking bogans out there like being weird and rapey, she runs into two women in a Jeep, and they say, "Can we help you?" And they're the ones who actually finally rescue her in the very end of it. So,
but wouldn't it have been cool if like the original bogans turned out to be good and they picked her up?
Yeah, that would have been fucking cool. Actually, you're right. The bogan was actually just being weird for no reason.
Yeah, it shocks me that the writer didn't want to give the huge redemption moment at the end to the bogans.
But the actual end, because it's like a lot of these movies where there's actually 3 or 4 endings. She then goes to the beach with Eric Bana's compass, which we saw in the very first scene. Mm-hmm. His like special compass that brought him luck or whatever. And does she chuck it into the ocean, or she's just standing by the ocean?
She chucks it.
Yeah. And that's the actual end of the film.
That always gets me, these scenes where people like chuck things in the ocean, because like it only goes out like 8 feet and then it washes up with the next wave.
Yeah. And it's like the Seinfeld where he's doing the golf ball and it gets stuck in the whale.
Right. Unless it's a protein Pop-Tart, and then it just goes forever.
Well, if you've eaten a protein Pop-Tart, then you're gonna yeet that compass out to the next break.
But Ryan, was it necessary?
When we get together next, we're gonna throw protein Pop-Tarts into the river.
No, they're expensive, dude.
They're so expensive.
But was that scene fucking necessary? Because it was like you had completely forgot about this like arc of her redeeming Eric Bana. Like by that time you were like, fuck, I have no recollection of why she was in Australia to begin with. And then they bring it back for some reason. I feel like, Ryan, you're right that there was like all these other building scenes that just got cut for time and Netflixy,
Yeah, they just made it, kind of a sugar drink, and it was a really good sugar drink. I mean, it was a fun, exciting ride. The music was good, the acting was good, the cinematography was good, and it was very light on actual kind of like character development and arc. And yeah, I agree, they didn't need it. They also didn't need the scene the scene like where she's driving to the beach and like it's like a newscast and they're like, this just in, the 14 people that went missing turned out they were turned into jerky, and we found them all. And it's like we know. We were there.
Totally. Like we made the connections between the pictures on the wall,
right,
and the people who disappeared. They were the jerky. Like we already got. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was yeah. In case like your dumbass who's watching it in 18-minute sections on his phone missed it, we're gonna let you know that.
Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't know until that moment. I was like, oh fuck, they're the jerky.
Oh man, such a good time with those guys. Always a good time. doing movie night with those dudes, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you don't hold my terrible Australian accent against me. Now that I'm here in Australia, I can really, it's very obvious to me how bad my, what I thought was a good Australian accent is. Maybe it's just a regional thing. Yeah, I'll stay positive. Maybe my accent works somewhere in Australia. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little romp through Apex Land. And I just want to shout out again Andrew and Chris's show, The Runout. Of course, Chris also hosts a Normocast. But this was featured on The Runout as part of the Patreon bonus content for Rope Guns. I've been a Rope Guns supporter of The Runout for years now. They put out super fun episodes, like really good bonus content, and just those two just riffing every week about kind of the topic du jour is always really, really fun. And they work really hard over there. So if you've got it in you to join another Patreon, which I know it's not, we can't have like a billion subscriptions at all times, but those guys put out the goods. And so highly recommend you popping over to the Runout and supporting them as a rope gun if you have an opportunity. And I'm incredibly grateful for your support for me over here at the Struggle Climbing Show as a listener, as well as a Patreon supporter if you can. Really means the world to me and to those guys. And I hope you're having an awesome, awesome week. I am now going to get back to vacation land, and hopefully things will dry up and I'll get out rock climbing in a couple of days here and check in with a plog episode in about a week. Until then, have an awesome day and watch out for the jerky.